The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
From the hot desert of Avondale, Arizona, it is the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Old Phoenix International Raceway. We are glad to have you here tonight, and we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round number 4 of this race for the championship in these truck series, presented by BNC Lawn and Landscaping. Up here in the booth, I'm Austin Coop. Gabe Wood is joined alongside of me, and then Cisco Scarmuza, as always, is pushing the buttons and bringing the picture to you. Now, it's going to be a little bit different tonight, Gabe. We are on the Old Phoenix Raceway, International Raceway, as it has changed in real life. It has changed its name and dropped the International in the middle of it. We're on the old surface, and we're also on the surface where we don't have that dog leg. It's very flat on that back straightaway, and I'm telling you, this is going to be really cool to see how a lot of these guys change their strategies, because I know a lot of these drivers have not raced on this surface in quite some time, and it's going to bring a lot of talent into the front. Right now we have Cody Gibson, who's in the pole position right now as qualifying has started, and I actually watched a little bit of practice earlier, and I saw some names up there towards the front that I was not expecting, like Bobby Terrell, who hasn't had a good start to his season, be up there towards the front.
Yeah, Austin, with the amount of changes going through Phoenix International Raceway, I think we might have to start specifically calling it the 2011 circuit, because we got the new one coming for next year, and I'm pretty excited about it. But the old circuit, the ones that's famous for the Indy cars, the NASCARs, whenever it started racing here to the 2011 season when they did the changes, I kind of like this circuit. Personally, I love the circuit with the dog leg. But guys have gotten used to racing that circuit, and it's a smart move by the admins to start running this circuit. I think it's going to produce some great racing, just from the fact that these guys have to pretty much relearn how to race here. They don't have the passing zone on the back straightaway. Excuse me, I had to catch my breath for a second. They don't have the passing zone on the back straightaway. They have to make their passes and set them up from turn 2 all the way to turn 3. I'm excited for it. And, you see the guys like Cody Gibson, Dwayne Dunn, as you said, Bobby Terrell, those guys qualifying up front. Guys back in the pack like Jeff Ryan, Louis Robinette, they're going to have a lot of work to do qualifying 17th, 19th, all those guys. It's going to be a lot tougher to get ground made up here at the Old Phoenix.
Yeah, and something else that I think this really is, this contributes a lot to the rest of the schedule too, because not only is this going to be a little bit different, but they're also going to tracks such as USA International Speedway that is no longer in existence in real life, but it's in the sim, and they'll be going to that, which is going to be really, really interesting. But as you're looking at the points, Stephanie Lesnington still holds the points lead after 3 races, so she's done a great job of getting and she's the only driver to have 3 top 10s right now. Her average finish is 5th, which is an astounding amount of work that she's had to put in. She's got that pole earlier. She's got about 40 some odd laps led. She's doing quite a bit of good work here against these guys. And then you've got Bennett, who won last week's race, Cody Gibson, who is on the pole at the moment, and Jamie Walker and Scott Simley, 2 drivers that are absolutely dominant in this series.
Yeah, Jamie Walker has yet to make a qualifying lap. He's got a minute and a half at this point to make a qualifying lap, yet to be on the racetrack, along with Ralph Vandervoort, John Jenkins, Brian Cutts, Randy Tessler, Michael Atkins Jr., and I believe Michael Waite in the 48 machine. All those guys have not made a qualifying attempt yet. I'm looking to see if anybody's out on the racetrack. Looks like Michael Atkins in the number 2 machine is out there in that Pepsi Toyota. He's going to go in turn number 1 on his first lap. First one is probably going to be your money lap. He enters a little bit high here, Austin, but he's trying to get that good run coming off the corner.
I
just realized, doesn't have that banking. They increased the banking from the new Phoenix. You don't really have that banking to catch you here, and you don't get the good run coming off the corner.
And something I've always talked about Michael Atkins Jr. is we're watching him do this lap, and he's going to lose it right after 4. So we're already seeing a little bit of interesting action. I'm sure he's not going to be happy about seeing that on the broadcast. But he'll have to start from the back because of that now. So unfortunate to that. And I was just about to say good things about him, so that LSRTV is still true about talking about drivers in good light, but he has been running very, very well lately, so kind of unfortunate that and that we've kind of put the spotlight on him. So Gabe, that's bad on us here.
LSRTV, the #1 in oval broadcasting and cursing the driver you're looking at.
Right. But that looks like it's going to probably round out the qualifying session here, and that does it. Cody Gibson, he will get his pole. And I think that might be one of his very first. I know it's his first of the season. So that'll be really good for him to start up front. And he's also 8th in practice. So we'll go through your full field rundown as it stands. Cody Gibson, he'll get the pole, and Dwayne Dunn, he'll be to his outside, starting in the 2nd position. Bobby Terrell, he'll start in the 3rd position. Robert Gillenwater will start 4th. Joshua Banks, he'll start in the 5th position. Then you got Scott Formosa, Dustin Hall in 6th and 7th. Seth DeMerchant will start in the 8th position. Mark McCrary, he'll start 9th, and then Aaron Bennett will round out the top 10 in 10th.
Rolling off in 11th is going to be the #1 machine of Seth Foudy. Michael Waters is going to roll off in the 6th row on the outside. The number 55 machine in 12th. He's going to have Ricky Howell to his inside there on the next row. Stephanie Lessentine, you talked about her in a pre-race show. It's been running good up to this point in the season. Is going to have a little bit of a work cut out for her, starting in 14th. James Nunn in 15th. Nicholas Nugent in the 16th spot. Jeff Ryan and Chris Gibu in the 17th and 18th position. Louis Robinette and Matt Morrow round out your top 20.
The last driver to make his count, his qualifying lap count, is going to be Shane Hawther from the 21st position. Then Justin Mike will start 22nd. Randy Tesser, he'll start 23rd. With Scott Simlington is outside in row 12 for 24th position. George Hendricks and Rick Jetty, they'll start 25th and 26th. John Jenkins and Michael Atkins Jr. We saw Atkins have issues in qualifying, so he'll start 27th and 28th. Jamie Walker start 29th with Ralph Vandervorst starting in the 30th position. Then you've got the next 4 drivers starting basically shotgun, so you'll have Michael Warren, Brian Cutts, Michael Waite, and Stephen Herring starting in those last 4 positions here at the Phoenix International Raceway, the old version of it. And we'll have your track facts up on the screen. Now, like we said, it's going to be a little bit different, so know that these numbers are going to be just slightly lower on it, but they will still have those 4 turns, and that dog leg will still be just a little bit banked on the corners. And pit road is still the same. It's still 45 miles for pit speed and 55 miles an hour for that pace car. And unlike a lot of other tracks, so once these guys get up the pit road, they're already set to go. Already 1 lap till they're going to get started here, Gabe.
Yep, pace car lights are off, so we're going to go green flag racing this time. Want to add one more thing. Looks like Justin Michael actually attempted a qualifying lap, but did hit the wall, so he will start with the first of the drivers who did not qualify. So your 12th in points is going to have a tough time getting up to the front.
Fast car down and away, and Cody Gibson will get this field started, and a good start from him, and Dwayne Dunn will be right behind him. He's already getting himself in 1 truck length lead, and we're going to have a very, very fun time to see how these drivers take this Phoenix International Raceway with this much different surface than what they're used to. So down into the dog leg they go, and very restricted as we're used to, but looks like we already have a side-by-side action for second.
1 and 2 single filed out. The 4 slides it up into the outside fence. That's Robert Gillenwater going to slide 5, 6, 7 positions lost on the first lap. Cody Gibson's going to be your driver to lead lap #1 here. So Bobby Terrell wins out of that situation, along with Scott Formosa, Steph the Merchant, and pretty much everybody inside the top 10. Gillenwater now running back in the 9th position, looking to lose now the 3rd or 2 to 3 of Aaron Bennett. He's hanging tough on the outside. That 4 machine's already got a lot of damage here early.
There's been a lot of 3-wide action. Oh, we got a car in the wall.
Stuffed in the fence.
Looks like that's going to be the 55 of Michael Waters and company behind him. A lot of these guys getting the wall and 3-wide. Still behind him. A lot of action on this track. A lot of 3-wide. I was just talking about it. These guys are having a tough time after the first couple laps of just getting a little too hard into the corners and just barely touching that wall. It seems like it really wants to grab them. And wow, what a huge change of things I did not expect that to be so soon.
Already getting tough here up front. We've got a couple of guys racing around just outside the top 10. Stephanie Lessentine, your points leader, in that 12th spot, racing side by side with James Nunn. Lap number 4, she's going to defend that 12th spot. Right in front of them, Ricky Howell and Mark McCrary. They're going after the 10th spot. McCrary holds it. Ricky Howell wants it as they come out of turn number 2. And it looks like McCrary's actually going to go to the outside, now to the inside. Crossover move just a little bit here in turn number 3, but he's going to try and dive it down. Gillenwater continues his slide toward the back part of the field, now side by side for that 10th spot.
We're going to put our eyes back up to the front. There's action all over the place, but Bobby Terrell is absolutely coming through this field and coming for the leader of Cody Gibson. He's side by side right there with Dwayne Dunn. It's a great battle as we're seeing through the dogleg, and he was actually almost able to clear them both, and he's going to make contact going to turn number 3, and they both somehow keep their trucks straight. The 39's on the outside wall, and that's going to create our first caution of the night. How did they not wreck those trucks worse than they did?
Caution is out. I don't think anybody really got sideways during that exchange. It may have just been the 39 stopping on the track. We did see, I believe that was the 69 or somebody like that, maybe the 57. Somebody was dead sideways, but they did hang on to it.
I'm watching it now. We'll get a replay, of course. And it looks like I can't really say which one was in fault coming out of that dog leg, but I'd say the 39 was coming down and the 14 was coming up, and they met in the middle. And I don't even like saying that, because you'd always say there's one person at fault, but they were so close coming in and out of that corner. It's really hard to say. Either way, both of them really didn't make it out of it too well. I think Bobby Terrell lost a couple positions, and I think the 39 of Dwayne Dunn, and he locked that truck down perfectly, and I do believe he's going to get some right front damage, as he wasn't able to wasn't able to slow the truck down. But DeMerchant got by it, but still actually got some right front damage as well, as he was trying to avoid it. So a couple more trucks actually got some damage than this.
It was the 36, the pink and gray car, Joshua Banks. He was the driver who got dead sideways, but did save it. Almost tapped him with the rear bumper. It looks like the 57, excuse me, the 37, who is that? It's Dustin Hall, had a little bit of damage with Aaron Bennett as everybody checked up. So Bennett with some front end damage, and Aaron Bennett with some damage to the rear spoiler.
Yeah, these guys are coming out of the pits right now, back to the live feed. Looks like Cody Gibson will get he's an astonishing lead over these guys coming out of the pit road. And then Bobby Terrell, he'll actually come out of the pit road second. And then you've got Joshua Banks and Aaron Bennett and James Nunn. So definitely some strategies played right here.
Couple more drivers, looks like, coming back to the pits. I believe we see now the 48 of Michael Waite. He's going to come down. We're going to get you your updated running order when they come back across the start-finish line next time by. Before they go green, Bobby Terrell coming back down pit road. Did hang on to the car, but he's going to give up the top 5 position and get a little bit of his damage fixed before we go back green flag racing.
It looks like the pace car is
it's actually
already out. So, right, these guys are ready to go. No lap cars, actually. So, Quickie Yellow is what we're going to be getting here, and Ricky Howell, like you said, he's going to get that. He's going to get the lead from these guys, and wow, it's quite astonishing how this changes so quickly. And we'll just have to see how old tires do. New tires didn't work out for some of these guys at the very start of this race, so these guys might be in good company. Maybe they can get a few positions more than they wanted. Ricky Howell from 13th, Jamie Walker for 29th position. I think this is a really good call for him to get out from the back of the field and be where he's at right now. But it's going to be all about Ricky Howell Jr. He's going to lead some laps tonight, and pace car is off and away, and he gets himself a fantastic start. Looks almost identical to Cody Gibson's start, and so we're going to go green once more on lap 9.
Showing already the inside lanes where you want to be for the restart. We've seen it, the old configuration of Phoenix. Really doesn't matter if you can get the good restart coming off the outside. You can hold it with the high banking on the new configuration. But this old configuration, it's a very flat bank track. I believe you can only make the move on the inside lane. Jimmy Walker still holding on to that second spot. He's got Cody Gibson right on the tailgate in that number 7 machine. Joshua Banks has actually made up a good recovery. He started in the 5th spot. He had a little bit, looks like we got some action going around the 3 and the 75 of James Nunn. Those guys are racing side by side for the 5th position. And it looks like an outside lane pass for the 75. What a move from James Nunn.
James Nunn doing a surprising job right now of keeping that number 3 in check, and the 3's trying to come back at him right here on the bottom, but looks like the outside's really good through 1 and 2. If it was a battle for the race win right there, that'd be pretty cool between those two. But the outside's been really good for Nunn in turns 1 and 2. Look how much speed he gets right here, right on the outside of the track, and he might even clear before the dog leg. But when he gets into turns 3 and 4, it's not such a good position to be in. So that's really cool to see if these guys are going side by side, that, you know, there's one track or one part of the track that the outside's going to be an advantage, and one side of it that it's not going to be. So that'd be pretty cool to see if that has anything to play later on in this race. But as we start looking back up towards the front, Cody Gibson in 3rd place, he's actually starting to creep into the picture for these guys towards the front. Howell Jr. and Walker, all 3 of those drivers have kind of pulled away from Banks just a bit. So this strategy is actually working out perfectly for these two guys. But nonetheless, Cody Gibson has those fresher tires, and he might actually be something to do something about these guys here before it's all too over.
Top 3 breaking away by over about 10 car lengths from Cody Gibson to the number 36 machine of Joshua Banks. They go into turn number 1. Still racing for the lead with Ricky Howell Jr. with the race-winning scheme from Martinsville from the number 18 machine of Noah Gregson, who got the grandfather clock earlier today. But Jamie Walker, he's right up the tailgate of that number 18 machine as the 18 slides up the racetrack. Look at the run the 88 machine got off the corner as the 18 slid up the racetrack, but the 7 of Cody Gibson right there under the back bumper, and these guys racing just a little bit harder is allowing Joshua Banks to close in.
And Cody Gibson has actually won 8 of these USR races, and it's been a while, I think, for him. And I think he really wants to win one of these. He's right there with the Simleys and Bennett's on the all-time win list, but last season we didn't really see much of him, and right now he's trying to make his statement. He's doing a really good job so far this race, but right now he's actually kind of backing off from these two. Unsure if he's trying to save his tires or something like that, but right now he's just trying to get these guys reeled back in as Walker is having a good run on Howell Jr. He's going to look to dive on the inside for the lead, so battle for the lead right here. Going to turn number 3, we'll see if that bottom side is all what it's cracked up to be, and he's going to still be on the inside here.
Can the 18 hang it on the outside long enough to reach turn number 1 and 2 to get that monster run coming off the outside? Can he do the same thing James Nunn did just a few laps ago for the top 5 position? Oh! He tries to pinch the 88. That's going to cost him. He's going to slide up the racetrack, hangs on to it. Jamie Walker's going to get pulled away, but now the 7's going to take that second spot. Looks like James Nunn now loose in the background. He hangs on to it. Guys getting contact with each other all over the racetrack. Looks like the 18's going to fall back into the clutches of Joshua Banks as they go into turn number 3.
Action all over the place is definitely the key word for this track. I am loving this change. They've done a good job, but looks like those two in turn number 1 are still getting close together. That's how Banks and Howell Jr. These guys are really, really close to each other, and I think that Banks is going to win this one. And he's going to get that pass done. But yeah, like you said, he pinched him down in that corner, and I'd say that Jamie Walker kept his line pretty stable. I haven't taken a second look at it, but it did look like Howell Jr. just came down just a little too much in the corner, trying to get a really good run. And I think he would have had it had the 88 not been exactly where he was. But right now, he's got to focus on getting back up there and trying to make things happen as it is, being in 4th position and having some hungry guys with fresh tires behind him. And speaking of fresh tires, Aaron Bennett, he's in 5th place starting from 10th. He's actually made a lot of progression here throughout this race, and right there on lap 18, he's going to try and get these guys.
You know, Austin, we talk about guys staying out on old tires. These tires weren't that old when they pitted. They were about 4, 5, 6 laps old whenever they came down pit road. The 7, the 36, all these guys, not the 18, the 3, the 31. The 88 and the 18 of Ricky Howell, they started 13th and 29th. Any kind of improvement for the 29, even if he slides back to 5th, that's one heck of an improvement. That's 20-plus cars he does not have to pass. And that's going to be the key to the strategy. They're not that old. If he could just take care of them, he can ride it out, wait for the next caution, or come down and pit and pick up even more time because he has to pit earlier. He's going to have fresher tires during the green flag exchange.
And even then, he's still pretty fast among these guys. He's still pulling away from Joshua Banks and Ricky Howell Jr. despite they're battling hard right now. But despite that, he is still he's actually losing a little bit of time to Cody Gibson, but not as much as you think it should. You know, he only lost about half a tenth that last time, and he's not really losing that much. So, you know, for him, and actually he gained a bunch that last lap. So, if anything, Jamie Walker has played this strategy to the absolute perfection. At least the way I see it, he's done a really good job of holding his ground when he needs to. But looking behind him for the second place, this battle's been going on for a little bit. We cannot ignore it. Right now, these guys going for position for the third. Three-way battle right there.
Three-way, about to be a four-way battle with the 31 machine of Mark McCrary getting into it. A little bit of contact between the 3 and the 18 as I come into turn number 4. Everybody sorts it out. The 3 machine of Aaron Bennett went from running in the 5th spot to now up into 4th, and now challenging for that 3rd spot. He's going to come off the corner. That 36 to Joshua Banks. He's been losing time just a little bit each lap to these guys. The car's starting to get loose. I can see it start to act a little bit erratic under that number 36 machine. The drivers feel just losing it on that 36. But I'm looking at that outside lane, a good run from him. He may be able to defend it. If this track was just a little bit wider, we'd see that number 18 machine try and force it in there.
You see Aaron Bennett struggling on the bottom side right here, and they're going to freight train him on the outside, and it just seems like when you get that good run in the turns 3 and 4, you just want to take advantage of it. And this is definitely the battle to watch, and with the 3 truck being where he's at, he's actually in a good position to take over the championship points lead right now. And it looks like, oh, maybe a little bit of contact between himself and Mark McCrary right there going in the corner. That's making a little bit of an interesting move. And look in front of him. Looks like Ricky Howell Jr. is going back to the bottom side. And I just don't think that bottom side is where you need to go to pass. You've got to go to the outside. It has so much more momentum. And, wow, that is intensely... This is an intense battle for this one position, and those guys in front of them are absolutely just pulling away. 2.9 seconds between them and Jamie Walker. This is a really awesome battle to watch, and I really don't want to take our eyes off of it, but man, they're losing the leaders badly.
Genuinely surprised how pretty much a neglected track and almost barely used setup as being really this racy. I mean, these guys putting on one heck of a show of, ignore the 88 and the 7 pulling away, but 3rd to about 7th, they are racing their hearts out trying to get up into the top 5 and get back to the leaders. Banks has it, and about the 7 guys behind him, they all want it, and they're within a shot of it. The 18 of Ricky Howell Jr. now back to the bottom off of turn number 4. The 31 machine behind him, he gets loose. Here comes the 87 of Justin Michael in the 7th spot. He's going after the 6th position.
Oh, he gets into him. He's going to slap the track, and that's one way to do it right there, isn't it? And so he's not going to be happy about that. That's Ricky Howell putting the move on Joshua Banks right there, and oh boy, that's incredible.
I tell you what, Austin, if you're going to put the bumper to somebody, there's 2 things you do not do. Do it on, lap 26, and you don't do it to where they can come back and do it back.
Oh yeah, me and you both know from short track experience that this isn't a short track, but it definitely drives like one, and especially today. And Cisco Scaramouza, our producer, just sent us that this has been an absolute blast so far to watch. And for one position, these guys all are going for one position, and you saw how badly Ricky wanted it right there. And I think he's still gonna have to fend off the 3, but when that happens, when they go side by side, guess who's gonna come back in the picture? Joshua Banks. He's got a messed up truck now, or he's had one, I think, the whole race. So my gosh, this battle for 3rd place on back. I mean, you can throw 3rd place to around 8th place under a blanket, and there's another behind him. Oh no! Oh, he hits the inside wall. He's gonna get back on the track, but he's gonna be slowed in the grass. So Ricky Howell Jr., I guess, comeuppance comes quick sometimes.
Oh, that car got tight coming off the corner, and then it immediately just broke loose. I'm looking at the replay now. It was just a dead spin. Ended up hopping over the curves to the infield road course and had no tires on the ground when he hit the inside wall. That was one heck of a hit. He's now running at the 12th spot.
I'd be surprised if that truck is going to make it the rest of the race, and really unfortunate for him. He was doing so well to get that position, muscled his way to it, and right now what we need to look at actually is basically this battle between Seth the Merchant and folks around the 18th or the 15th position. It's getting really crazy back here, and it looks like they've got a truck in the wall. That might be actually, that might still be the 18 truck. Yeah, he's down on power still. That's Ricky Howell Jr. He's still down on power. I think his day is done at this point.
Racing going on all around the speedway, and I may not know many things about racing, but I know Joshua Banks, while that 18 car was spinning to the inside wall, there was a smile underneath the helmet.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're muscling that hard so quickly, I think especially with a track like this that races so hard, and being a 156 lap race here, there's a lot of those racecraft things that come to play, and I think you would be probably extremely right there, Gabe, about that. Knowing exactly that this is race 4 in the season as well, but going up front and think about everything that just happened, everything that just took place. It's calmed down a little bit. There's still battles here and there, but it's really calmed down. Our little storm of about 15-20 laps has finally ceased for a bit. But while that's happened, the lead is absolutely large between Jamie Walker and Cody Gibson. And I'm not saying the rest of the field, I'm talking about Gibson. He's 1.2 seconds in front of Gibson. We haven't talked about this lead because Walker has somehow, with the older tires, actually been able to pull away. And
caution's out.
Caution's going to bring everything to a halt. So everything we're just talking about is going to stop. Now, I don't know what the caution is for yet. We're going to have to get our eyes on it, but it looks like caution's going to come out on lap 33. Oh, it looks like it was in turn 3. With Nicholas Nugent and maybe Chris Cabot.
Yeah, looking here, the 5 machine just dead sideways. Never actually went a full 180. It was actually the same deal that we had in turn number 3 on the first caution. Just a driver slowed down enough and got sideways enough to trigger the caution.
Well, I'll tell you, I kind of needed this. I needed this break because this action has been absolutely crazy, and I think you could say the same. So as the pace car picks all these drivers up, they're still running around. In turn number 3, I bet you all these drivers come back in for fresh new rubber, trying to get the biggest advantage that they can. But Jamie Walker, what a job he's done to go from 29th to the first in a matter of just a few runs. So here these guys come down pit road for their service. I would assume 4 tires and fuel for all these guys.
Yeah, I don't know how Jamie Walker was able to control that number 88 machine under caution if, he's out there high-fiving himself so much. I mean, he pulled off the perfect strategy. Pulls into his pit stall great. He should be able to come off pit road with the lead if nothing happens. We're going to go down, watch your driver who is in the number 1 pit stall. It's going to be the number 7, the number 7 of Cody Gibson. Going to pull into his pit stall, a slow roll into his pit box. Looks like we had one driver miss his pit stall behind him. Looks like the number 4 machine maybe of Gillenwater, but these guys getting 4 tires all the way around. Who's going to be able to win the race coming off of pit road? It's going to be a dead heat. Gibson actually gets him, and Aaron Bennett's actually going to be able to take second. No, it looks like it looks like Justin Michael's going to get it.
Yeah, it looks like he got edged out just a little bit by Walker, but in the end, it was Gibson who actually had that number 1 preferred to pit stall really pay off. And getting that pole and getting those times, yeah, a lot of drivers don't like to qualify because they don't want to be in the mix of things. And I don't know if that's exactly what Walker was going through, because he gets so professional since he's been in the series for such a long time. But got to think about that. That number 1 pit stall could be the difference between going home and winning, or going to victory lane and winning, or going home and being 2nd or 36th place. It's really quite amazing how much you don't have to do when you leave your pit box when you're in the first stall.
Yeah, and it's actually, you save a lot more time than you think. I mean, you think about how Phoenix Raceway, the end of pit road, the final about 10 pit stalls kind of curve into turns number 1 and 2. When you're turning into your pit box, you're actually cutting off a few car lengths maybe when you're coming in. It's just like maybe driving through the pit boxes like you see some guys do. You may not like those guys, but there's a method to their madness. They're saving time. And it's especially prevalent here at Phoenix, because you think about Jamie Walker and Aaron Bennett. They had a lot of position on him, or at least Jamie Walker did, but they had to circle pit road on the actual pit road instead of the pit boxes.
And something to bring up here, Cody Gibson being in the lead and having that pole. Before this race started, before the event had started, and that includes qualifying, he had 8 poles and 8 wins. I'd say to him, if he knows the statistic, which he may not know or care, but now he has 9 poles. I think to make everything even, he'd probably be extremely happy to have 9 wins too. I don't know about you, but symmetry is something that it's kind of been an interesting thing throughout art. So why not do it with your win on the racetrack as well?
Well, you're assuming he's now going to stop at 9 wins.
Oh, that's true too. But then he needs 10 poles and 11 poles, right?
These guys are going to come down. Pace car lights are off. So one good thing about being here at Phoenix, short caution laps. So about a minute for each caution lap. These guys are doing a great job circling the speedway. Pace car is going to pull down to the inside. We're going to get back racing here. Lap number 37 out of 156. Going to be a long one here tonight, but these guys are putting on one heck of a show. They're going to come off the corner. Green flag back in the air. It's going to be Cody Gibson, the same way it started 37 laps ago with your pole sitter. Going to get a great restart yet again. Who's going to get into turn number 1 in the second spot? Looks like it's going to be Jamie Walker leading the outside charge.
The outside is absolutely powerful, and when you're talking about the 31 of Mark McCrary, he goes and starts in the 6th position, and he's looking for 4th. So that just shows you how powerful that outside lane is, and he's going to be on the outside still in 3 and 4, but he's got an injured truck of Justin Michael right there on the bottom, right behind him, trying to get that position as well. And he's got Joshua Banks. That's what I meant to say the first time. Joshua Banks has been through a lot this race, and to be in the position he's in right now, I'd say is still pretty darn good. But he's got the 31 on the outside. He's also got the 87 of Justin Michael as well. Those two are strong trucks right now. Those two still fighting on the outside, trying to get the position, but looks like the 87, and strong as he is, he hits the wall, the entrance of turn number 3, so he will not be able to get that position that he wanted right there for the next position, which would be 4th position or 5th. So he's still outside the top 5 at the moment, and it looks like the lead is also starting to pick up a bit.
Oh, almost a little bit of contact behind Stephanie Lessentine. It's going to be the 4 machine of Robert Gillenwater and Michael Atkins Jr., the 2 machine, who we saw wreck during qualifying. Started 28th. No pit strategy for the 2 machine. He's going up to the front the old-fashioned way, now working on the number 4 machine of Robert Gillenwater, that Powerade Chevy Silverado, trying to get it done on the outside lane, trying to defend his position, but it's not going to happen. We're going to follow this battle for just a little bit. That 2 machine doing his job, working his way up through the field. He's up now to the 8th spot. Next driver is going to be Stephanie Lessentine, your points leader in that Natalie Decker it's like Snowball Derby paint scheme, the Venerini Motorsports paint scheme. That's going to be one to look for tonight because she started in the 14th spot, but now working her way up to the 7th spot right in front of her. As we just saw, Justin Michael got a little bit loose, but all these guys battling hard. The 87 loose again coming off the turn number 4.
Yeah, Lessentine's got those purple numbers as she's putting a move on the 87 on the inside. And I don't know if the inside move's going to work, but it might set her up for something in the next corner. But you see those purple numbers. We're only going to see that for a handful more races, I think, here tonight. And I know you and I will use them on Monday, but... or maybe you will. I don't know if you will, but I know I will be. But anyways, it's really cool what these guys, what a lot of these drivers do each and every week by having those numbers. So I'll just take a little bit of time at least to go about it. But I think all, Lessentine, I'm not surprised that she's got it on her truck. But all these guys to have it just as like a small symbol of the awareness that goes through it. I think it's pretty darn cool, Gabe, to really go and do something. I mean, something that they don't actually have, aren't giving anything. They just have it on their truck. But when we put it on the broadcast, it's more light in it. I know a lot of drivers in real life are also doing it as well. So I think that's a pretty cool deal when we start in just trying to take a step back. And we're watching some great racing, like for the 5th position here or 4th position with Banks and McCrary. But that's also always something I've always kind of enjoyed about these guys.
Meanwhile, up front, Cody Gibson has been passed for the lead by Jamie Walker. Jamie Walker's now pulling away by 0.3 of a second. And it's 0.9, now growing half a second back to Cody Gibson. So what we're seeing is Jamie Walker, he did attempt a qualifying lap, but unfortunately did not complete it, or it was invalidated. Either way, that 29th start of the 88 machine on his way up to the front, and he has completed that charge yet again. And he's pulling away now by half a second and 1 second back to Aaron Bennett in the 3 machine, who I might add has done a great job working his way naturally from 10th to 3rd in just 40 laps.
Yeah, and he's got some damage on that truck. Remember that, I think it was a 37 truck, just absolutely plowed into him during that first caution, and so he's got a lot of rear end damage. I think he's got a little bit of left side damage. Other than that, I think he's fine, but he's still driving that thing with like the wheels are basically falling off of it. But yeah, those first 3 drivers I think are just the class of the field right now, and I think if you're going to try and get to them or beat them, you've got to get past Joshua Banks, who's still solidly in 4th position. I think that's the driver I'm most impressed with, and I'm extremely impressed with Jamie Walker, but to be honest, he's always kind of up towards the front in a lot of these races. It doesn't surprise me because he's won a lot of these races. Joshua Banks, on the other hand, is doing a fabulous job of holding his position still, even after having a lot of issues happen to him earlier on. He's got Mark McCrary, who's been extremely fast as well. He's coming up through the field from 9th to 5th right now, and he's going to be doing a hard charge, but I'm going to love to see what Joshua Banks does to keep holding 4th.
Banks having a tough time hanging on to that 4th spot with a completely damaged front end. Got it on about lap 5. I'll tell you what, that driver in the number 36 machine, as you said, he's been holding on. Mark McCrary started in 9th. He's up to 5th, doing a great job as well in that Tracker Boats number 31 machine. Justin Michael continuing to slide just a little bit farther back now into the clutches of Stephanie Lessentine, and he started to pull away. Now that driver's getting loose yet again. You can see it just sliding a little bit on entry, and now watch if he gets back to the gas, that car might just get a little bit looser here. Maybe not in turn number 2, but turn number 4, you don't really have that banking to catch you as Lessentine slides up the racetrack. Now she's under fire from the 2 machine of Michael Atkins Jr.
Well, we're almost to lap number 50 here for some of these drivers, and some of these drivers are already on it. We'll get a chance to give a shout out to our friends at Joel Real Timing. Coverage of the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend time behind the sim, on the wheel, or on the pit box from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. Looks like the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. executed the pass on Stephanie Lessentine. The Lessentine, she'll fall back to 8th position, which I think will actually make it a really close battle between those two of Aaron Bennett and Lessentine to see who's got that points lead at the end of the day right now. She's actually got Scott Simley on her tail as well, and then you've got DeMerchant as well right there in the thick of it. And they've had very basic days, I say, for those two. They've had not a lot going on for them, but they're really starting to show their muscle right now. Like I say, DeMerchant will pass Lessentine right there, and then the 68's also looking to get that position here soon as well. So as Lessentine still starts to fall, I'd say if she loses another position or two, she would actually be out of the points lead, and then Aaron Bennett would have it.
No, I think Aaron Bennett already has it. He's 7 points ahead coming into tonight. Bennett running in the 7. Yeah, sorry. Can't do math. All right.
Okay, it's kind of something that we're bad at all the time, but either way, they'd be
haven't done this series in a while.
They'd be tied now, I'd say. So if Lessentine loses another position, she'll lose the championship lead. But like the series has always been known for, they've got a playoff system, so it's not terrible. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world, but it would be nice to be seeded first. And with 4 races in the series, it's, not a big deal. But notice how these trucks, and we see this a lot, is the trucks are kind of moving up the track in turns 3 and 4. So I think that's something to note and see that as this race goes on, they will continue to go up that track with the dynamic track.
While we're at it, I want to update you on your points battle for the cutoff position. It's early, but you want to go ahead and start counting the points. If you know you're not fast enough to get a win at a lot of places, you're going to want to start counting those points and just try and point your way into the championship chase at the end of the year. Matt Mara running in the 17th position. In the 22nd, in the 22 car, he is 3 points outside the cutoff, and I'm not familiar with the rules. Austin, can you clarify, do they get locked in if they're on wins or no?
This series in particular is a points in only system, so you can win as many races as you want, but if you don't point your way in, there's no reason to. You've got to get in with the points, so you've got to participate. You've got to come to the racetrack just about every other week, or every week I should say, and make sure you get good finishes consistently, which is what Scott Simley did last year to win the chase, or win the race for the championship.
Well, back to what I was saying, Matt Mara is actually 3 points behind Mark McCrary, and excuse me, I got to step away for just a second.
Alrighty, so we'll be back in just a second, but as we're watching the battle I'm starting to watch Seth the Merchant right here in the number 57 truck here just inside the top 10. He started 8th and kind of fell back a little bit. Looks like the 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. is trying to get him back, but he's come up through the field quite a bit lately, so we'll watch his onboard here for just a moment, and we'll just kind of watch him go through the field right now as he's starting to really these guys in. I'm starting to see that he's going up the track just a little bit more from these guys, so we'll stay on his onboard for just a moment, and we'll come back in a couple more laps. And watching the Merchant catch these guys in front of him, it looks like at some point there's a little bit of helplessness to go and pass these drivers left or right, up and down the field. It's really difficult, it looks like right now, to actually get by somebody. And I gotta remember that Seth the Merchant won the race 2 weeks ago at Atlanta and has been pretty darn fast since then. He had a really fast truck last week at Las Vegas, but had an issue hitting the wall. And it looks like the 87 is going to hit the wall hard on the inside. Looks like that's going to be Justin Michael. He's going to hit the wall really hard, and I think that truck might be done. That right front is all cooked up, and he's actually kind of upset the guys behind him as well. That's going to be Lessentine and Simley, but it looks like the truck still rolls on. Man, that was a hard hit on the inside for the 87 truck. I don't know if his truck's going to last that long, but he's still going, and he's actually holding these drivers up behind him. It's going to be Lessentine who's on the bottom, and Simley's going to probably take advantage of this right here. And he's going to go to the bottom in turn number 1, but 87 truck is still surviving right now. Still in there, and he's actually still keeping up a fight on the outside. So Justin Michael still holding on pretty well here as he continues to fight for 8th position. Let's kind of go throughout the field here as we have got a moment here. Like Jamie Walker continues to lead 2.2 seconds in front of Cody Gibson, doing an amazing job of just pacing the field at a very astounding rate. And looks like Cody Gibson in 2nd, he's still there, and then we've got Aaron Bennett in 3rd, Joshua Banks still in 4th place, might I add, and I think we might have Gabe back here from the Nether, and looks like Mark McCurry and the Merchant are starting to fight him. So it looks like the Merchant did get that position, and so he's going to probably be one of the guys to try and dethrone Joshua Banks from this 4th position. Still in the hunt, though, is going to be Mark McCrary to get a good finish. He's been fighting really hard all season long through these first few races. Right now, it looks like Joshua Banks is going to have just a little bit of an issue, and I think the 31's going to try and take advantage of it on the inside right here. He goes to the inside to make that pass. Looks like it's going to be side by side for it, but it doesn't matter. There's going to be a caution out on the field, and I don't know if Joshua Banks was able to hold on to that, but the bell just rang for Joshua Banks right there, and so he's going to be able to hold on. It looks like it's going to be Louis Robinette in the 30 machine, and I have to see in a replay and see what happened to him.
Happened coming off of turn number 2. Couple of drivers racing for the 16th position. And it looks like Louis, the same thing that we saw happen to the 18 machine earlier in the race. But it looks like as soon as Louis realized that the car was going to spin around, he just locked it down. You could see the car immediately slow down, but unfortunately he goes into the tire barrier. A little bit of front end damage might hurt the radiator on that number 30 machine.
And watching it again, he hits those tires a little bit, and then it seemed like the truck wanted to keep going into them. Looks like maybe like his throttle stuck or something like that, but looks like he did get it unstuck, and he did not go a lap down, so looks like that was good for all those drivers. Going back down to pit road is Cody Gibson and company, including Jamie Walker, of course. These drivers coming down to see what they can do to improve on their truck status. These guys have a fixed setup, but that does not mean that they can't make an adjustment with brake bias in their truck. So doing anything that they can, getting the 4 tires, and we'll see if Cody Gibson's able to get that lead again from pit road. It looks like he's almost already done with his service and easily gets that position. And look at the 3 truck. He's actually going to get Jamie Walker that time. So Walker has been beat on pit road 0 for 2 now, but does not mean that truck's not fast, because he obliterated these guys, Gabe, and I have a good feeling he's probably going to do it again. He's just got to pass these guys.
Yeah, I think at this moment Cody Gibson is either hoping on cautions at the end, or him improving his line, or Jamie Walker falling off, trying to be too aggressive or getting into the wall. But Cody Gibson's last hope at the end of the tonight's race is having a caution where these guys come down pit road where he can pull away at the final few laps. But other than that, I think on a long run, Jamie Walker's got a really good shot at winning.
While we pace on lap 54, we do want to or 60. I'm sorry, I don't even know what lap it is. 66. You can't math, I can't count, I guess. But we're going to give a good shout out to our friends at B&C Lawn and Landscaping for all the work that they do behind the scenes for this series. Part-time sponsor for the number 3 truck of Aaron Bennett, and they've been the title sponsor for at least for last year and for this full season, and so it's good to have them on board. So go and check out B&C for all your landscaping needs as they pace on lap 66. We're going to see a couple trucks actually up front. Looks like Ricky Howell Jr., after he obliterated the front wall, or the backstretch wall, actually. And he's going to get his lap back. Looks like Ralph Vander Vorst, he's going to get his lap back as well. I think Michael Waters, he'll be on the lead lap this time. So that's going to be 1 driver more on the lead lap. And we're going to have Lewis Robinette and Ricky Howell Jr. 1 lap down. But they're going to get double filed here again, Gabe. It'll be another restart.
Another restart up front. Update, Cody Gibson is your leader yet again. He's led almost every restart except for Jamie Walker, who led whenever he stayed out. But Jamie Walker pulling off the great strategy call, did not pit when everybody pitted around like lap 5 or 6. Had good enough tires to stay up front and actually pull away. So Jamie Walker showing he is the car to beat. But at the moment, Cody Gibson is out front with Aaron Bennett on the outside. If you look at Bennett, a lot of damage from that first caution. Kind of coming into play, but not as much as I thought it would be.
Kind of a what coulda, woulda, shoulda been if that 3 truck can't get up front, but it is. And he's got that rear end damage, but it's a style track, so we'll just have to see if he's able to get this lead from Cody Gibson, as Gibson gets a good start, and they're stacking up on the outside. Not a good start for the 3 truck, and he did not get going, so more rear end damage for him. Rear end damage for the 31 of McCrary as well, and I think some front end damage for the 68 as well. That's Scott Simley, so a lot of trucks messed up here on the front. Oh, looks like Lissentine's going to get hit, and that's going to be the 39. Big wreck into turn number 3.
Still piling up. 39, 25, 98. Looks like the 10 on the outside. 4 or 5 cars caught up on the back straightaway. Seth the Merchant trying to make it into the championship chase here early in the season. Among others caught up in the wreck here early.
Oh, man, and that was not good. Looks like we're going to get a replay here, and it's that dog leg. It's a very different dog leg from what these drivers are used to. But what it looks to me like what happened is that the 39 did not start going into the dog leg like Lessentine thought would happen. And to be fair, a lot of the drivers have been going lower in that section of the track. So, and Lessentine was actually falling pretty much like everyone else in front of her. And they just got together, and that's the second time the 39's had an issue in that corner of the track. And she got on the brakes hard, and it just wasn't enough to stop the 39 from going around. And then she got drilled by somebody. I have no idea who that was. Actually, a couple guys. The 37 ran into her, and then I think that's the 98 of Steve Herring just monster jamming over her.
See, this is where you need an actual spotter. See, the iRacing spotter, it just tells you inside. A real human spotter would tell you he's hanging tough, right there on the inside. That may have been prevented, but Lessentine was just following in the tire tracks of Scott Simley in front of her, and we just saw it absolutely just went out. Looks like the 75 of Nunn also got some damage along with the 04, so a lot of guys caught up in this early.
Gonna be a better list to say who wasn't in that wreck. I think 16th or 17th on back who's on the track. So you go George Hendricks, Michael Warren, John Jenkins. A lot of those drivers are in it. Dwayne Dunn, of course, he's got a racetrack, but I don't think it's done. I think his racetrack is still in a manageable part to finish this race. Although he'll probably have some engine damage. Bobby Terrell's in it, Scott Formosa, but Lesentine and the 98 got the worst of it for sure. I mean, both their nights are done, and Lesentine's going to have her first race without a top 10 this season so far. So really unfortunate that it happened like that, but it looks like she will not have the lead off of tonight's race, which will, I think, be a big bummer for her. But looks like for some of their other drivers, this will be a big day for points.
So this is the first time that we see guys not come down pit road. We're nearing halfway, but we only won a few laps there under the green flag. I think maybe about 2 or 3 only here, Austin. But, you know, we see Cody Gibson, Jamie Walker, Aaron Bennett. They've kept their same positions, you know, minus maybe the 31 machine having a little bit of rear end damage. And looks like the 68, or no, who was that? I forget who it was who did get the front end damage there on the initial start there, but either way, a little bit of damage between the guys up front, but other than that, they pretty much hold station.
Yeah, so a big wreck here is stopping us a little bit slow here on lap number 71. We're coming to lap 72 this time, and so a lot of drivers have already got the haulers ready to go home and ready to just put this one behind them. Steve Herring's already exited the racetrack. I think a few drivers are exiting pit road now, trying to beat the pace car not to go a lap down, as you're seeing on the screen. Like Nicholas Nugent, George Hendricks, Seth the Merchant. He's going to try and get back into this, and many other drivers trying to just get back into it. It's really tough, even a track like this, to maintain speed if you've got that much damage, and you have to hope that your truck doesn't blow up between now and the rest of the race. We're not even halfway there, and we've had quite a big wreck here on the middle part of this race. But up front, it's going to be the number 7 of Cody Gibson and Jamie Walker to start this race, and Jamie Walker's been all but strong here in this early stage of the race, but we'll have to see if he's able to get that lead back from Cody Gibson like he did last time. Pace car is off and away. Cody Gibson slowing down just a little bit more before the start, and he gets a good jump before the field, as we're going to have a green flag on lap 73.
Green flag, Cody Gibson yet again pulls out to about a 2-car length lead, and the same thing happens. Jamie Walker's going to hold that outside lane. Meanwhile, Joshua Banks with a good run around the outside. He's going to get around Aaron Bennett. Bennett now under fire from Michael Atkins Jr., who's made a good start to get around Mark McCrary in the number 31 machine. So Michael Atkins Jr. now trying to get up inside, or excuse me, I believe he is inside the top 5. So the 2 machine move him up into 5th. They're going to hold station here. But Jamie Walker, he's to the back bumper of the 7 machine already.
Lots and lots of side-by-side battles all over throughout the field. The top 5 separated by just a little bit of over a bumper. Looks like that's going to be Aaron Bennett winning that battle, but losing the battle to Joshua Banks, who yet again with his truck is just so damaged. And so is Aaron Bennett's. I think the 2 most cleanest truck are actually the 2 out front. And Aaron Bennett, looks like we're going to have another caution. I'm not sure what this one's for, but I guess it's probably in turn 3. Ralph Vander Vorst is in it, and John Jenkins has a blown motor. So that's the 91 machine right there. We'll just have to see exactly what happened, but turn 3 has kind of been the problem, and actually looks like the 39 is in it again. That's 3. That's 3 right there, and I'm not sure. 2, I would have said maybe, but that's 3 incidents off of Dwayne Dunn's front or rear bumper.
Looks like coming out of the dog leg. Yep, the 39 machine just drifts up, coming off the corner, up into the 91 machine of John Jenkins. Nothing he could do, comes back up the racetrack and into Ralph Vander Vorst, who blows his motor just riding around the racetrack. He was 11 laps down, just looking to make up some positions here in the midway point of tonight's race. But unfortunately, he's going to have to load it up on the trailer and go home here from Phoenix International Raceway.
Yeah, Dwayne Dunn has already started to get that truck ready and prepared and to leave the track, but I don't see many other drivers coming down pit road, and I'd say Cody Gibson got saved by the bell on this one. as it was pretty close. Looks like Michael Waters, he might come back down. But as we're getting to the halfway point of this race, we'll go through your Midway race break presented by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many more. So we'll go through the full field rundown as it stands. 45 minutes into this race on lap 76, Cody Gibson currently leads the way, as he's led quite a few laps tonight, and the guy who has also led quite a few laps tonight is Joshua. Jamie Walker. Josh is behind him in third position. Then you've got Aaron Bennett in the fourth position. Michael Atkins Jr. has definitely had a really good rebound from starting in the 20th position, and I don't think he's got any damage on his truck, so that's a plus for him. And in sixth place is Mark McCrary. Scott Simley is in 68. He's in 7th. Robert Gillenwater, he's in the 8th position. Rich Jetty has also had a good race right now. He's in 9th. And then Justin Michael has somehow survived all the chaos and is in 10th.
Running in the 11th spot at the moment. He's got a little bit of damage as well, but the 75 machine of James Dunn still doing a good job. Matt Morris has picked up a lot of positions, about 7. Since the last time we talked about him about 20 laps ago. He's running in the 12th spot. Bobby Terrell, who we saw involved in that first caution, he was running in 3rd, now back in the 13th position. Michael Warren in 14th. Shane Hawther in 15th. Michael Waters in the 16th spot. Louis Robinette in 17th. Seth the Merchant in 18th, Scott Formosa and George Hendricks right out your top 20.
In the 21st position is Ricky Howell Jr., who is going to be getting a lap back, I think. Then Nicholas Nugent and Brian Cutts are going to be in 22nd, 23rd. Chris Cabot, he'll be the first driver on the off lap. Then you've got Don Jenkins, Dwayne Dunn, Dustin Hall, Seth Foudy, and then Jeff Ryan and Stephanie Lessentine rounding out the top 30. A lot of those drivers very injured or on pit road right now. And then Steven Herring, Ralph Vandervorst, Randy Tesser, and Michael Waite end out your 34-car field. And that's been a look at your iRacing Midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. You can use the promo code on iRacing/World of Outlaws to get a 3-month membership for less than $5 at iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. So back up front, it's going to be Cody Gibson leading the way, but as we know, he's going to have a hard charge for the lead, and looks like he's going to get himself a good lead right here on this restart. So lap 78 right here, going to lap 79, and it will be a good battle for second, but only for short-lived as Jimmy Walker will go. Look at that block by the 36 in front of the 3 right there.
He knew what happened the last time they raced. Aaron Bennett was actually, he fell into the trap of the number 36 machine on the outside of the last restart. This time, Joshua knew exactly what was about to happen, so he pulled up and blocked the number 3 machine. Jamie Walker, meanwhile, looks like actually going to keep following the 36 machine because these guys racing side by side. Can Aaron Bennett get it done on the inside? No, he will not. He's actually going to try and force it around the outside, gets back to the gas a little bit earlier than he wanted to. He's going to get a little bit loose coming off the corner, but that's actually going to give him the perfect angle to slide it down to the inside as they move into turn number 3.
Look at him dive it down in turn number 3 and 4, but that outside has been so good lately. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. They're going to get real close off in turn number 4. It looks like 36. He will continue to have that position. And then back up front, look at the 88 of Jamie Walker. We might be able to see him in the same frame, actually, these two battles for position. Walker's doing a different line from the 7 right here, and he's actually going to catch him right here. But it looks like Joshua Banks behind him. He got loose or something out of the corner, so he's going to be out of shape. And it looks like Jamie Walker battles all over the place, Gabe. Jamie Walker's going to go right back to the underside of the 7. He's going to complete that pass for the lead. Not surprised to see how well he's done.
I was going to say, at least he's trying to complete it, but he did get the good run coming off the corner, and he gets to the bottom, and he ends up getting into the lead. So the United Stem Racing number 7 machine moves back into the 2nd spot, and now he's going to try and not fall back into the clutches of Aaron Bennett running in the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Michael Atkins Jr. has gotten around Joshua Banks as well as Mark McCrary in the 31 machine.
Something is happening to the 36 machine of Joshua Banks. He has fallen very harshly. He's in Last time by the stripe, he was in 6th position, but
Oh, it looks like a little bit of contact.
yeah, I think he's in the 10th position right now, so he's fallen very far down the roster of drivers that we have tonight, and I'm unsure if there's something going on with the 36. He's actually getting passed again on the inside, so perhaps that engine's not going to last here, Gabe.
No, I'm looking at the replay. He was actually racing with Aaron Bennett, and he got back to the gas way too early. And the car just pushed up coming off the corner, and he got into the outside wall, started sliding back, and he started to gain his positions again, but then he got into the 31 machine, and that got him loose again, so he's just continuing to slide back. He's now outside the top 10, so that 36 machine going from bad to worse.
It looks like he's still fighting with drivers around where he's at, but definitely not what he wanted to have. I think it was just kind of a roller coaster of looseness for him, if that's the best way to say it, I guess. But yeah, I think that contact, I don't think it's anything with his engine. I just think once it started to get loose, it just kept getting that way. And as he continues to fall, looks like the battle up front has now calmed down between the front two. Walker and Gibson have kind of separated themselves, and Aaron Bennett. It's a good day for Young Gun Motorsports right here with those guys up front. And then also you got to think about Michael Atkins Jr., like we talked about, 4th place. And a lot of guys who didn't qualify or had issues qualifying are up there towards the front. So your top 5 consists of 2 drivers who had just had that, and then Simley and Michael did have times up on the board. And so with that big wreck, that has changed a lot of drivers' games, and I think saved a lot of drivers in particular. And I'm thinking about Justin Michael right now. He's in the A7 truck who absolutely slammed the wall in the front straightaway, and he's still somehow in 7th.
Somehow still in the 7th spot. I want to talk about Seth the Merchant. He was actually one of the drivers. He's actually on the... I'm trying to look and see where he was at. Got called out to us, but yeah, the 7th spot, Justin Michael got a little bit damaged to the right rear of that number 87 machine. Still trying to work, still loose coming up off the corner. And I tell you what, that driver's hanging on for all he can, still catching the 68 of Scott Simley as they go into turn number 3, approaching lap 100 here, getting close. Now we got a battle around the 14 car with Bobby Terrell. Looks like Matt Mara's gotten around him. Matt Mara on a tear, starting in the 20th spot. We just checked in with him. He was running outside the top 10, now up into 9th. He's gotten around the 14 of Bobby Terrell. Terrell pushes out the racetrack into Rich Jenny in the number 93 machine. 2 forms of contact in 1 lap. The 93 keeps it off the wall, and that's going to let Seth the Merchant now below him.
Yeah, he got into him twice, like you just said, and wow, he made sure he got that position, I think, and I think that's one way to do it, is to, make sure that you kind of push your competition out to the side. So I don't think there's any physical hitting the second time, definitely the first time, but it was really, really close if they didn't touch. Nonetheless, he made his intentions known off of the corner of 2, or it was just tight. Either way, he got the position, but he's going to have the Merchant right behind him, really trying for that position as well. So it's kind of calmed down a bit, Gabe, but nonetheless, there's still battles all over the place. That your top 3, of course, really the class of the field that they've been the entire race, but throughout the field, they're getting really spaced out. This battle for what appears to be just inside the top 10 is the 14 of Bobby Terrell trying to get the 22 of Matt Mara is starting to form, but these guys have really calmed down here quite substantially these last 2 cautions, and I think because of the cars that they've seen, I think that's definitely made some of these trucks slower because of the damage, but also made these guys a little bit more aware of this race is still pretty long and still has a long way to go.
Long way to go. Closing in on 100 laps so far in tonight's race. And I'm actually looking at Cody Gibson. He's driving it a lot harder into the corner, and he's starting to make up a little bit of time here, Austin. Maybe through turns 1 and 2. I think I've seen it the last few times. Now, Jamie Walker, I'm waiting to see what he does here in turns 3 and 4. Let's look at the gap this time by, because it looks like the gap's getting smaller just a little bit. I don't know about the gap looking to you. It was 6/10 flat last time by. Let's look at it as they come across the start-finish line. Yeah, it's getting smaller, not by much, by about a tenth, or excuse me, by a couple of 100ths. Either way, it's getting smaller, and that's really a far cry from what was happening earlier by about 2/10 a lap. So Cody Gibson's getting faster. He's figuring it out. Question is, can he hang on to the back bumper of Jamie Walker?
Something I've noticed is that he's actually been able to kind of stick with them most of the time. And when you follow a driver that's typically extremely fast, week in and week out, you start to learn things, especially when you follow like that behind him. I've noticed that Cody Gibson was going typically towards the outside lane in turn number 1, but these guys are slowing down pretty quickly in turn 1 and then just absolutely matting it at turn number 2, and not a lot of drivers are doing that. And I'm really seeing that he's doing it, Walker's doing it, and Bennett is trying something completely different than either one of those guys, which is something I've been excited to see between these guys. So you start to look throughout the field. It looks like the number 57 right there is...
Oh, a little bit of back bumper work from the 22.
Yeah, he's been able to get around these guys pretty well, and so 57 is actually starting to catch those guys in front of him as he's able to pass the 2 behind him.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 22 machine of Matt Mara. As soon as the 57 got to him, or got around him, I think Matt was a little bit displeasant about something because he put the back bumper to DeMerchant coming off of turn number 4, but either way, DeMerchant's pulling away. And I tell you what, Austin, that gap's coming down 0.4 of a second now.
It's about catching him, but I wonder what he'll do when he catches Jamie Walker, because he is faster, at least at this point in the run, and we've seen how easy it is for certain drivers to get around others, but also how hard it is to get around others and how hard you may have to push the truck to do it. I'm afraid that whenever he gets up to him, which he's still slightly getting that lead, I'm afraid that when he catches him, there may not be a whole lot he's able to do, and a lot that he's not going to do, at least at this moment. If it was last 5 laps, I'd be saying, he could do anything he'd like to, but it's a little early still. But I think maybe once he catches him, he's let Walker by a couple of times, and I've seen Walker let drivers by before, so I'm wondering how this is going to work out for either of them, to be quite fair. Knowing that Walker's won a lot, and I know that Cody Gibson wants to win again, as he hasn't won for some time. And so for those two drivers their gap to be getting closer and closer. But that 7 of Cody Gibson, like you said, absolutely is cutting that lead down, and Aaron Bennett is actually falling off those guys.
Now down to just under 0.4 of a second. And Aaron Bennett still hanging strong, kind of in a land of his own, 1.4 seconds back, now 1.5 back from Jamie Walker, but about 2.5 seconds in front of Michael Atkins Jr. Doing one heck of a job just kind of keeping it in that podium position. Tell you what, Austin, closing in just 2 laps away from lap number 100. Got a little bit caution happy here in the last few laps, but these guys are starting to stretch it out. We may have a good run to the end.
Yeah, and you watched last year's race, so you can tell the difference between the racecraft that these guys are having and the just kind of the urgency about what these guys have in that dog leg, and especially when we get to the finish of this race, as well, with exactly what happens. So Gibson is actually starting to lose a little bit of ground on Jamie Walker. But he's still doing a pretty good job of holding up, holding his own. There's going to be some lap traffic in front of him that are going to be fighting for a little bit, but they're actually fighting to keep their lead lap status right now, and I don't think it's going to last very long.
So we got a battle for the top 5. Mark McCrary has it. Scott Simley wants it. It's that number 68 machine, the Hippies Paint Shop Toyota. On the back bumper, that Bass Pro Shop Chevy Silverado as they go through the dog leg here on lap number 100, coming to complete it. I tell you what, these guys are doing one heck of a job just keeping it under control, because Austin, you get old tires on an old worn out surface. Caution is out right at lap number 100. And it looks like the 4 machine of Robert Gillenwater, who's running in the 7th spot with Bobby Terrell, and it looks like the 57 has set the Merchant, maybe?
I'm unsure exactly what happened. Maybe the 4 got really sideways. Yeah, again,
he got a bumper.
Sideways. Really, really sideways again. That's exactly what happened, and so he's going to be able to keep the position over the 14, but DeMerchant gets both those positions, so DeMerchant's had a lot handed to him in this race, but he's also been in that big wreck, so I gave him a lot for being able to get through that, so looks like they're kind of unsure what they're doing here in turn number 3, is a lot of the field's going down pit road. Looks like Jamie Walker's actually going to get a huge lead into the pit road. I'd be surprised if he doesn't actually get the lead out of pit road, but this might be the last service they get on these trucks here on lap 102.
Yeah, it looks like the caution triggering, sensitivity here is just a little bit sensitive. Here at Phoenix International Raceway, Jamie Walker just now exiting his pit stall right as Cody Gibson comes in, so we're going to have to wait and see what kind of gap Jamie Walker's going to get.
Yeah, and it looks like the 7's not even have his left sides up, so 88 of Jamie Walker definitely going to get that, and I think Cody Gibson's going to safely get second place right there over the 3 of Aaron Bennett. So while these guys start to pace again under the pace car, we will take a short break right before this last stint to the end of this race. You've been watching the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series at Phoenix. Welcome back to Phoenix as Jamie Walker is leading these BNC Lawn and Landscaping trucks here around for their final pace lap as we're about to have a restart here on the night. Jamie Walker gets a good jump, and it looks like the 7 had an okay jump, but it looks like as Walker gets a good lead that everyone behind him is going to be double file fighting for position. It looks like Aaron Bennett's going to lose the position on 3rd to the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. That 4th place and 6th place is really important on the restart here for these guys going in lap 105.
Gibson trying to hang tough. He was able to close in. Looks like he's actually going to come to pit road.
Uh-oh.
Cody Gibson coming to pit road here on lap 105. What is going on with the 2nd place runner of Cody Gibson?
Well, he's no longer number 2. He's going to go back all the way to 20th. So, I don't know. Maybe he's a restart violation. It's really unclear what's going on. It looked everything was fine to me. So maybe he had a pit road penalty that he had to serve under green flag conditions. I know they don't clear flags terribly often, but looks like he had he's just coming out of pit road in front of your leader Jamie Walker, and you can see him coming down the back straightaway. So really unsure what's going on with that number 7 machine, but our pole winner, he is in turns number 3 and 4 just in front of leader Jamie Walker, and that is absolute heartbreak for that team.
Heartbreak, and also a choice opportunity. Michael Atkins Jr. How about this for qualifying? The 2 guys who wrecked during qualifying, Jamie Walker and Michael Atkins Jr., started 28th, 29th. They're running 1 and 2.
Hey, I mean, why don't you just start in the back and do pit strategy, or force your way up to the front like Michael has done? Atkins Jr. There's so many Michaels in this series, and it looks like the 2 is coming down as well. This may be a strategy. I'm really unsure. They may not have been able to make it on fuel from that point.
Oh my God!
Trying something really different here, Gabe.
These guys are blowing my mind right now. I was just about to make a comment that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys inside the top 10 at the moment, or before Michael Atkins Jr. pitted, started outside of the top 20. And looks like Jamie Walker, I thought he was slowing down to come to pit road, but how's that for driving up through the field?
Yeah, a lot of impressive driving, and some of these drivers did benefit from some of the accidents that happened. When you're talking about your drivers that were in the top 10, only one of them, or your top 5, only one of them is in the top 5. Joshua Banks started in 5th position. No one else in the top 5 is in the top 10. No one else that started, and only 2 other drivers started in the top 5 are in the top 20. So, and they're 19th and 20th right now. So that's Cody Gibson and Gillenwater. So this race has absolutely turned qualifying upside down, and it's definitely not because of qualifying. It's just how this race is kind of formulated as it goes on. But if Walker continues to stay out, I'm quite interested in seeing how these strategies play out, because driver's coming down pit road for a purpose, it looks like. And it looks like the 7 Cody Gibson didn't even get tires. It looks like he went and did his fuel just for a little bit, and he's just going to be having to these guys are going to have to bank on it going green all the way, I'd assume. So Jamie Walker is still out there on the track doing what he does best, and he's got Mark McCrary right behind him, and McCrary's had a great day as well. Charles Dyson has just kind of really sat on into the top 10 and just slowly got those positions as he's gone on. And look at Seth the Merchant. He's in the 4th position with a terribly beat up truck. That front end looks terrible, and he's in the top 5 looking to get some more. So right now, Seth the Merchant doing a really good job of just keeping himself composed through these laps. He doesn't have very long until this race is over. And look behind him, battle for the top 5 position is going on as well. We'll watch that right here. Matt Mara and Scott Simley. Simley's been in the top 5 picture all day, but just not quite there. Simley's been doing a good job. And of course, our past champion of 2 times, still trying to get some more positions as they go. So top 5 is Walker, McCurry, Bennett, DeMerchant, and Mara. Somebody's trying to crack into that as well. We'll go through a couple more drivers. Rich Jetty as well. He's one of those drivers who started in 26th position, and he's having a good top 10 day right now as well. So he also had a good chance of having a win earlier this season here, Gabe, and he actually wouldn't have made it on field, but was in the lead for a good portion of the time. So looking throughout the field, we've had some comers and some goers as like we talked about earlier. Qualifying has just been a really qualifying has had nothing to do with what looks like our race picture might end.
Yeah, because we got 3 inside the top 10 who started inside the top 10. 1 driver who started inside the top 5. I mean, qualifying really has not factored into the running order at all. I mean, we had Jamie Walker move up to the lead after about 5 laps with pit strategy. Had other guys drive up there. I mean, Mark McCreary, he's started in 9th, and even that is a heck of a job to do here at Phoenix, where it's very difficult to pass, which we've seen all day. But they're closing in on the end. Is Jamie Walker banking on another caution?
You know, he could probably run really slow, and it really wouldn't matter. He could save fuel in the corners, and he's got 3 seconds to Mark McCurry. I think he's in the catbird seat. He could do anything he wanted to. He could come down pit road maybe for a splash and gas, and actually that probably wouldn't work. But he could stay out and probably save fuel, and it wouldn't be a big deal. And the drivers he is catching are drivers that have come down pit road to try that strategy, or at least I would assume is a strategy. Michael Atkins Jr. is right in front of him. He's about to lap him. So I'm just really curious how this is going to turn out. The drivers are really pretty spaced out, so they may have a chance at being able to benefit off of those conditions and hope for this race to go green flag to the end, and hope that Jamie Walker does not have enough fuel to end this race. They're going for the win, and I think that's very obvious between those guys. So looking out through the field, looks like the 87 and the 55 of Michael Waters are having a good battle here in turn number 2. Looks like Michael Waters just got passed up for the position Looks like the 87 and Justin Michael wants some redemption here. He had some issues earlier on, if you remember, Gabe, and he won some of these positions back badly.
Wants him back. I'm looking back through the field just thinking at any sort of racing that we're seeing at the moment. I mean, update on Cody Gibson. He's your first driver on new tires. He's got Michael Atkins Jr., who's just behind him. I thought I saw some smoke here for a second, but Michael Atkins Jr. is a couple of tenths behind him. Did not take tires, so they're just sitting on fuel. That's going to be a determining factor. I mean, you know, they're not making that much time up. All they're really banking on is Jamie Walker and the what is it, 17 cars in front of him running out of fuel.
And to my surprise, I'm very unsure that this is actually going to work out one way or the other. I don't know which one, because remember, they had the limited fuel cell. So whether they're going to make it the rest of the way or not, I don't know. I'm talking about Walker and everyone else who has not pit. But these guys who pit early, I can't say that pitting that early was really beneficial, although they are getting clean air. I think that is one thing that's really, really important, is they don't have to worry about anybody else. They can just worry about themselves, run their race, and kind of make it like a road course race with different pit strategies, you know, and then it comes down to the end. Where on a road course, if you just pit slightly different, you might be able to make it up by just running by yourself, which is what these guys are trying to do, especially what looks like to be Cody Gibson. He's letting the number 2 kind of be his roadblock, at least for the moment, of him getting lapped, and Jamie Walker's going to have a hard time of passing Michael Atkins Jr., I would assume, to lap him down as well. So, you know, seeing Walker now actually have to try and pass some drivers is going to be kind of interesting and kind of fun to watch. And, you know, he might just sit there. I mean, he's got 4 seconds between himself and Mark McCurry. That's a long, long time on the racetrack to be lost. And, oh, by the way, Seth the Merchant, 3rd place.
Doing a heck of a job. Seth the Merchant is from up inside. He started 8th, but it's been an uphill battle. Been involved in a couple of crashes early, but he's now working his way back through the field now on the back bumper of Mark McCrary, just about 2 car lengths behind that 31 machine. A little bit loose there getting into the corner. He's going to get the car pointed down to the inside. A little bit squirrely there on the entry as he jumped onto the brakes, but that's going to put him right on the back bumper, now down to a car length and growing just a little bit as McCurry gets the run coming off the corner. But Seth the Merchant doing one heck of a job getting to the outside. He's going to power it down, get the run coming off the corner, expect a pass maybe into turn number 3, or he's going to try and make it here in the dog leg.
You know, the funny thing about these 2 trucks is they're both damaged, and they're both sitting in 2nd and 3rd place. And looks like McCurry is going to let him by, so not much of a battle for that position. I think McCurry knows the speed that the Merchant has, despite having that entire front end be mangled. Only thing I could say that's good about McCurry's situation is that McCurry doesn't have front end damage. The Merchant doesn't. It's quite possible that if we go green the rest of the way, that engine could start to cook up and blow up. You know, we've seen that time and time, that when you start to get that front grille all messed up and blocked, and the radiator doesn't get enough air, and maybe it's broken or something like that, you don't really have much of a hope to make it to the end sometimes. But in this case, he only has to make it a handful of laps, about, looks like 30, along with a lot of other drivers as well. So he's got to keep it on track, and so does everyone else. He's got to hope that those engine temps don't get too hot. Look at him in lap traffic here in the dog leg, and caution right in front of him. Big wreck right in front of him right here.
Oh no! Taken out! Merchant taken out! Didn't even see it. It looks like the 2 lap cars racing in front of him, the 30 and the 2. The 2 was actually one of the drivers who came down and got fuel, and the 30 of Louis Robinette, who was the last car on the lead lap. Looks like the 2 just came up off the bottom and into him, and then the 30 just barely clips the 88. Bad luck for Jamie Walker. Oh my gosh.
You need to look at this again. I think you need to look at this again from the 30 perspective. And I think the picture tells a lot of stories.
Oh my,
here.
I'm looking at it. It looks like the 30 cut down and just into the 2 machine. And Walker, he actually ended up getting into a little bit of contact with the 31 machine as he was sliding to a stop.
Yeah, I'm unsure what the conversation that's going on the radio, but the 30 is on the radio right now. I don't know what they're talking about. I have it muted, but I know there is conversation going on between them, and you can definitely tell that they are not happy with each other, and that'll leave Seth the Merchant to be in the lead. What a change of events of what's going on, but this will be the story of what happened today. Is that the strategy from the two guys, the 2 and the 7, goes out the window. Seth the Merchant gets a chance at a win, and Jamie Walker, the most dominant truck all night, is going to have what would have been a win. You know, I'd say without a doubt, what would have been a win has now gone away. So as they're exiting pit road, Seth the Merchant will win the race off of pit road, and it looks like it'll be Justin Michael. He'll be in second. I don't know how the heck he's still running out there, but he's in the second position, and then Jamie Walker, he's out there, but I would imagine we're just gonna have to see how these guys file out at the on the flag stand when they come by.
Now the 77 has not come down to pit road yet. Now it looks like he's coming down pit road. I think he's just trying to get a lap lead maybe or something like that. But Seth the Merchant now out on the racetrack. He's going to inherit the lead, and somehow still Jamie Walker, he had such a lead, still running at third.
Yeah, I think he was able to keep his position because his truck was straight when the caution had flown, and then his truck was straight. I don't even think that makes sense. But I'm afraid his truck is not going to make it. He's actually going to get an EOL penalty for why I'm unsure. So he was in third. He's going to lose all that track position now. So I would say that it is likely that his chances to win are over. But we have seen a lot of craziness happen today, Gabe, and I'm really curious who's going to win this show now. It looks like Seth the Merchant, who has a very damaged race truck, is going to be in a good position to win this thing off of the misfortune of a lot of other people.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, Jamie Walker, who's led pretty much the entire race, has had a dominant car, now in the third spot, but has a torn-up race car. He's actually losing a lot more positions. I think he may have come down pit road. I'm not sure.
He had an EOL penalty.
EOL penalty.
Which I'm not sure why, but he's going to be starting towards the end. He might be down on power because of that, but...
he might be taking one for the team.
That too. But nonetheless, looks like the 2 is going to blister out of pit road by these drivers, so he's probably going to get a penalty.
He should. That's passing the pace car.
Yeah, so, well, a lot of stuff's happening right now, Gabe, that I don't quite understand, but what I do understand is that we have 1 to go. We're about to get the green flag. Seth the Merchant and Justin Michael, which have had terrible races so far, are in the lead, and Aaron Bennett has been third all day long and has not been able to crack the first 2 positions. So that is what I do know. Those are facts, not fake facts, and we're about to get this race underway. So Seth the Merchant out up front. We will see how this goes. He's going to get himself a good lead, but the outside lane is pretty slow to go, and he's going to get himself about 2 trucks of a lead.
Back bumper getting worn out of the 87 of Justin Michael. Simley was right on it, and look at Matt Mara. He's up into the 5th position, started 20th, continuing his charge up through the field. That number 22 machine on the verge of making the chase here early in the season, and he sure is helping his case here, running inside the top 5. Rich Jetty behind him, but it looks like the battle is for the 3rd spot. Aaron Bennett to the inside, who's had pretty much arguably the 3rd fastest car here tonight with Cody Gibson and Jamie Walker, all the other 2 drivers who've been faster. But Simley, he's showing some speed around the top side, but it's all Seth the Merchant out front here inside 26 laps to go.
And this is what Simley has been known for, just being able to get to the end of the races and having good finish. He did this last week at Las Vegas and ended up in 3rd place, and looks like the 87 having some trouble out of turn number 4, so he's going to have a go. Wow, it's really close between those 2. He almost slammed into him coming off the corner, but looks like the 87's or the 68's going to be able to keep it together in the inside as well, but that's what the 68's been doing really well, is they're still battling for the position. Looks like he's going to be able to hold off Aaron Bennett, but Simley has been known for time and time again to just get good finishes consistently and all the time. So 68 still following the tracks of the 87. He's having a hard time getting this handle on this truck, and he's holding himself and Simley back from getting up to Seth the Merchant. So Simley's got to figure out a way to get around this 87 because it's only slowing him down. And he's going to get past on the outside. Looks, oh, he's going to go right in the inside wall. Kapow!
87 of Justin Michael into the inside wall. Same thing we've seen all race long, and it happens to the driver in the second place position. The driver out of Virginia, he's going to have to bring it to pit road. Got a bunch of front end damage yet again. It's going to be Seth the Merchant still in the lead. Single car incident there on the back straightaway.
I was right there in those tires, and that's the second time those tires have been used. Good thing those virtual tires don't move and are able to be used and used again. It's almost the exact same spot that somebody else used earlier. I can't remember exactly who hit them. I think it was 18 truck. I think it was James Ricky Howell Jr. Yeah, just Ricky Howell Jr., not James Ricky Howell Jr. But the 18 truck was in it earlier, so almost the exact same spot. But he was holding them up, and he was having a loose truck. I think that truck was used and abused well before any of that happened. So looks like pit road is going to be open, and no one is going to come down pit road. And looks like we're looking to have a quick 20-lap shootout here to the end.
Nobody's going to come down pit road. We're going to get you an updated running order as soon as everybody crosses the start-finish line, or at least inside the top 10. And I believe that's now. So we got 17 drivers on the lead lap. Seth the Merchant, Aaron Bennett, Scott Simley in third. Matt Mara now up to fourth. Rich Jetty in the 93 machine up to fifth. Joshua Banks in sixth. Cody Gibson in seventh. Shane Hawthorne in eighth. Michael Warren in ninth. And Nicholas Nugent in the 10th position. That's Nugent, not Nugent. I've said that. I think I've said that about 3 times tonight. But it's Nugent in the 27 machine in 10th. Going to follow back through your lead lap drivers. George Hendricks in 11th, James Nunn in 12th, Mark McCreary in the 13th spot. Jamie Walker starting his march up back toward the front in 14th. Michael Waters, Ricky Howell, and Justin Michael. And it looks like Robert Gillenwater round out your 18-car field that is still on the lead lap.
This has been, I think, one of my most favorite races, but it's been as chaotic as it's been. It's chaotic good, on the spectrum of personalities. It's been chaotic good, and I think that's what's made it so much fun to watch this one. Getting down to the end of this one, I'd say if anyone has been in the position and is kind of been there all race to make something happen, I'm looking at Aaron Bennett in that 3 truck. He's been in the top 3 this whole race. And now he starts on the outside and has a good chance to maybe make something happen. Only thing is he's got some terrible rear end damage. But I'm really surprised that the 3 has just kind of been stuck where he's at. He's had a lot of chances to make things happen, but right now he's in a good position. I think he's not stuck in 3rd. He's not stuck in this position that's going to be lost to the outside in 4th position. And then I think he's got a good chance of getting around Seth the Merchant because of the front end damage he has.
The Merchant with front end damage doesn't seem to be hampering him too much. We should get the one to go this time by. So we lose one Young Gun Motorsports driver in the 88 of Jamie Walker, and we gain another one. They should be at the 2 to go this time, and now 1 to go. Yep, lads are out atop the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. So we're going to get the race restarted. Jamie Walker, we lost him. He's now in the 17th position, trying to get as much damage as he can. But Aaron Bennett, he's trying to bring it home for his team up in the 2nd spot. And it looked like on that last start there, Austin, Aaron may have the car to do it. He just needs time.
He needs time, and I think he needs the opportunity and the positioning. He's got the positioning. I think he's got a good opportunity. I think he's just got to get the job done. And right now, he's in the championship lead. There's no doubt about that, as he was in 2nd before the race started in his competition. Stephanie Lessentine still in the garage area getting that truck fixed up 57 laps down. So he's in a good position, and look at that. Joshua Banks right behind him. Looks like he may have rolled up a position or 2. Looks like we're having actually 2 drivers walk out of the race. It looks like Jamie Walker and Justin Michael have retired their trucks. So as Seth the Merchant gets these guys off, looks like he's going to get himself a good lead. And looks like there's 1 truck back in the back that's blowing their engine, but that should not affect the race up front. Merchant getting a good lead, but look at the 3 truck. He's right there to block for 2nd position. That's going to be Scott Simley blocking Matt Mara from getting that position, but it's all eyes up front. Aaron Bennett trying to get that position away from Seth the Merchant as they roll into turn number 3.
Bennett trying to get the run there on the outside lane. He's going to diamond it down off of turn number 4. Closing the gap just a little bit to Merchant. He's in a little bit of trouble here, but let's see what Aaron Bennett can do. Waiting in the rings is Scott Simley in the 68 machine holding that bottom side, but Aaron Bennett, he's closed it now down to half a car length right on the rear bumper of the 57 machine as they go into turn number 3. Will he try and make it? No, he taps the brake to get off the back bumper of Seth the Merchant, so he's going to wait to make his move at the right time.
Just under 20 laps to go. When does he make the move? When does the opportunity present itself? Does the Merchant make a mistake? That's something that you don't see very often from the 57 machine or any of these guys in the top 3. You've got Simley there waiting for something to happen if it does. If these two guys go side by side, Simley will be right there and be able to capitalize on whatever amounts to what happens. And you're seeing the 57 go to the very bottom of the track, you're seeing the 3 go to the top of the track, and then you're watching the 63 or the 68 go to the very top of the track and trying to get momentum. It looks like the Merchant's line is working the best out of all 3 of them, at least right now, as he gets another tenth between himself and Bennett. So the Merchant's messed up truck is better than the 3's messed up truck, which is better than Simley right now, who has a pretty clean truck. So, or maybe they're just holding him up, but looks like the 3's coming back to the 57 here.
To the back bumper yet again. Will Aaron Bennett make his move this time? He breaks it just a little bit, trying to get the run coming off of the bottom, or from the top to the bottom there. But this racing, somehow, Scott Simley, he's been shot out of a cannon. That 68 machine, he's come out of nowhere, and he's got a faster car than both of these guys at the moment.
Yeah, really, really fast trucks all over the place. And also looking back at Cody Gibson, who's got himself into 5th place, and what could have been for that number 7 machine, as I would arguably say was the second fastest truck up here in this entire field, and now he's in 5th place and only going to be at a bird's eye view or a long view of what's going on for this race lead, as it's kind of stabilized between the front 3. And then, like you said earlier, Matt Mara in 4th position after starting 20th. And this battle behind these guys for just the top 5 position is kind of stabilized as well. And then you've got to go to the 75 of James Nunn, who's actually losing a few positions right here. Looks like he might have gotten the wall at a turn 2. We've got a car around. 91 is going to be in the outside wall. Looks like the 51 got him in turn number 3. Oh, he gets hit again. That's going to be, it looks like, Randy Tesser. He's already 25 laps down. He's going to have a blown engine, but looks like a little, I don't know exactly what happened, but 55 and the 9 got together.
The 9 and the 55 got together at the beginning of turn 3 and 4, and it just continued to the entrance of turn 3, or excuse me, the exit of 3 and into 4. The 9 slid up the racetrack, or after the contact. I'm looking at the replay right now. Looks like the 55 just flat ran him over. He was not expecting him to brake that early, or was expecting to just get the run on the outside, was expecting him to go to the bottom, but either way, he flat ran over the 9 machine. He falls back up the racetrack, and then as he tried to get slowed down, that final hit puts him back into the traffic just a little bit, and Randy Tesser ends up plowing into him.
A lot of drivers neglecting to come down pit road, which I'm pretty surprised about. Looks like the top 10 stays out, and looks like a few other drivers are staying out as well. And looks like Michael Atkins Jr. will get the wave by here. He will be back on the lead lap. I would assume he's going to get a lot of positions from this, being back in the lead. Oh gosh, right on, almost had a wreck under caution. Looks like the 68 of Scott Simley went up the track, and I didn't realize that Michael Atkins was coming around the field at that moment. But we're going to have a restart with about less than 10 laps to go, and I am unsure if the 3 has the truck to get to the 57. His rear end damage must be hurting that truck a little bit more than I was expecting. And I think Simley has the best truck out of the first 3 drivers, but you've also got to think that he's got to get around both of them before in 10 laps, and I just don't think that that's going to happen. If I was going to pick anyone in the top 3 after seeing that last stint, I'd say Seth the Merchant's going to be a repeat winner in this series.
I'd have to go with the opposite. I think Aaron Bennett, he's shown he's had the speed, he just hasn't really had the ability to get past him. That's the thing. But I think he's been biding his time, waiting for the right move. They're going to get one more shot at it here, Austin, because we really don't have another opportunity to get another restart.
Also got to start thinking about wheel spin on these restarts. They've had these tires for some time. It is kind of flat, which makes it a little bit easier on the front straightaway. But it is possible that these trucks get that wheel spin. They're the heaviest of the NASCAR's top 3 series, between the Cup, the Xfinity, and the trucks. They're the heaviest. And with as worn out as they are, I would have to believe at least a little bit of wheel spin is involved. Now, if anyone's going to start really well, I'd say it'd be Seth DeMerchant. He's going to be that leader, and he's going to be able to kind of do what he wants, be able to start as fast as he wants. And I think if Scott Simley gets a good start here and perhaps times it just right, and he's going to be able to watch him go through that phase, he might have a shot at it as well. But can't forget anyone behind them either. Matt Maher and Cody Gibson are still in this as well. Really, anybody in the top 5 has a good shot at it. And Rich Jetty going from 26 to 6 as well. He's in a good shot of it as well.
Looking through the field at some of the surprises here, I keep talking about Matt Maher. He's come up from the 20th spot, but Rich Jetty doing a great job. He's now maybe your biggest mover. I think Scott Simley's got him beat by, I think, 1 position. So we got a nice fight little here, Austin, for the biggest mover spot between Rich Jetty and the 93 machine and Scott Simley. So it's going to be a fight not only for the win, but guys just racing for pride.
Perhaps the last race star of the night, Seth DeMerchant. Aaron Bennett, Scott Simley, Matt Maher, and Cody Gibson is your top 5, and the iRacing official pace car will dive down for maybe the last time, and looks like DeMerchant gets an early start, but it is not his biggest one of the night. Looks like Aaron Bennett caught on pretty quickly, and there's a battle for that 3rd position. The 22 is going to try and round on the outside, but it's all about your front 2, and it looks like the 22 is not going to be able to get around the 68 of Scott Simley, so he'll be able to defend that position. There's a lot of battles behind him, but it's all about those front 2. Look at Aaron Bennett go to the very outside of the track. He tried to get around DeMerchant on the very outside, and then coming out of turn 4, does he have enough power to get to him? Not quite yet. We're going to just have a few laps to go.
Look at in the back, fighting for the 4th spot. Cody Gibson, he's on his way back up. He had the pit strategy fail on him. He had to come back down pit road there on the last caution where everybody else pitted. And now he's back up into the 4th spot as Aaron Bennett and Seth DeMerchant are going at it. He's got one more pack car to pass in Scott Simley before he can get to the back bumper. But Austin, he's running out of time. And so is Aaron Bennett because Seth DeMerchant's starting to pull away.
Cody Gibson absolutely dug for that position. I think that's absolute heart to get that position over the 22. He drove into turn 1 and absolutely stood right in front of the 22 and made that move happen. So that was a really cool move to see from the 22. And if he has it in his back pocket, if he has done it before, he might be able to. One of the other drivers might be able to do it as well. As I'm watching the 3 of Aaron Bennett still work on this 57 of Seth DeMerchant. It's closer than it's ever been right here on the front straightaway on lap 152 here. Not that many laps to go.
Scott Simley to the back bumper, but here comes Aaron Bennett getting back to him. 5 laps to go, so we're not going to get a restart here. A little bit of a bad exit through the dog leg, and as DeMerchant, he slides up the racetrack, a little bit of a 4-wheel slide from the 57. Here comes Bennett to the bottom. They're side by side, coming to the line off of turn number 4. That's going to let the guys behind him catch up as well.
Look at Simley in 3rd position. He's got an opportunity to get right behind and right beside the 3 and maybe make a position on him. That outside is so strong in 1 and 2. He might be able to get him, but that's only going to look for DeMerchant. But DeMerchant's not getting away from these guys. It's a 3-horse race for this lead and this win possibly here in the last couple laps. This is absolutely becoming a great race.
Where did Scott Simley come from?
Right, exactly. These guys have been battling so hard, and now you see all these guys get a little bit loose here off the corner. Look at them go.
Simley to the outside. He's got the advantage on Aaron Bennett. Aaron Bennett, he gets past. Now Simley's going after the lead down the back straightaway. Can he? He gets to the back bumper. A little bit of shove for the 57.
Wow, look at these guys all over the place. This is in some intense racing right here, and it looks like the 68's not going to get that good of a shot out outside of the corner. He's still fighting side by side with Aaron Bennett at the start-finish line. And it looks like DeMerchant's going to have a really good advantage going into it, but I don't think Bennett's going to be able to come back after this corner. I think that 68's going to be able to get him right here. I think
Simley on the outside.
Yeah, he's got him on the outside, but He's just still has to fight the 3. He's not going to be able to corner in like he wants to. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the stripe, but it's going to be, 1 lap to go at the stripe, actually. So we're going to have a white flag in the air. Scott Sibley finally got around Aaron Bennett, but is it too long? Is it too late for the 68?
68's clear. He's getting to the back bumper here. Is he going to be able to make the move? Look for DeMerchant to be aggressive as they go through the dog leg for the final time. Outside goes Scott Sibley. They're 2x2 going into turn number 3.
He's on the outside. Can he make the crossover move into turn number 4? It looks like he's hung out to dry on the outside. He's not going to have anything for Seth DeMerchant. And DeMerchant, after a thriller, he will win the race. And in spectacular fashion, what a race towards the end of it. Sibley had a shot, and it looks like he just got real tight off of turn number 4, and he was absolutely digging all 3 of those guys. One of the best races I have seen in a long time, and I think one of the best races for the finish between 3 guys to keep it clean as well. I think you could agree the same here, Gabe, but that was a really clean but well and hard-fought battle for the win.
One heck of a job by all these guys. And who says old things aren't good?
You know, they're going to say that old school is the way to go, and they're going to come back here every year now, right? Which I don't agree. I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with it if they're able to put on a show like that. I'm excited to see the other things they have in store, like going to USA International to go race. So DeMerchant gets the win in a spectacular fashion, and I think the thing I'm gonna be asking him when we get him on the other side of things is how fortunate he was to be able to make it out of those wrecks that was a part of, and the opportunity he got to get to the front. So seeing this impressive burnout he's got, we only have 2 winners on the season. It's gonna be Seth DeMerchant and the 87 of Justin Michael, who have won races so far this season, and Seth is 2 for 3 on starts. So I think a great way to start the season for both those drivers is to have only 2 wins, or 2 winners through the first 4 races. So as he begins to burn it down, or as he's finished burning it down, we'll go through how your full race rundown went. Seth DeMerchant gets the victory. Scott Sibley finished 2nd, and Aaron Bennett finished 3rd. Fantastic race between those 3 guys. Cody Gibson finished 4th, Matt Mara finished 5th, and Rich Jetty still with an impressive night finished in the 6th position. Then Robert Gillenwater finished in 7th. Joshua Banks held on to 8th place. Nicholas Nugent 9th, and then George Hendricks finished 10th.
Coming home in the 11th spot is James Nunn. Had a hard race, but he ends up getting away with a half-decent finish. Mark McCrary ran up inside the top 5 all race long, but unfortunately comes home in the 12th spot. Ricky Howe Jr., he finishes where he started, but it definitely doesn't show what the speed of that 18 machine had early in the race. Michael Atkins Jr. comes home 14th. Michael Warren 15th. Shane Hother comes home 16th and is the final driver on the lead lap. Only driver to finish on the 1 lap down is Chris Gibu in the 5 machine, comes home in 17th. 18th is Scott Formosa, Brian Cutts, and Lewis Robinette in the 20th spot.
A lot of these drivers are multiple laps down and had issues earlier on. Michael Waters, he finished 21st. Seth Fowdy, 22nd. Jamie Walker, unfortunately, had his probably race-winning truck demolished 19 laps early. He finished 23rd. Justin Michael finished 24th. Randy Tesser finished 25th. John Jenkins finished 26th. Bobby Terrell, 27th. Stephanie Lessentine also had heartbreak, finishing 28th. Dustin Hall, 29th. Dwayne Dunn in the 30th position. That's where he'll finish. Jeff Ryan, 31st. Steven Herring, 32nd. Ralph Vandervorst, he finishes 33rd. And Michael Waite finishes in the 34th position. So that's your LSRTV look through the field. And as we start to settle down, Gabe, I think it'll be a good time to catch our breath and allow these drivers to filter in. We'll catch with Seth DeMerchant, Scott Sibley, and Aaron Bennett and ask about their fantastic 3-way finish for this battle for the win here at Phoenix. And we'll be back in just a little bit here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway, the old style with the old banking and old dog leg. And Seth the Merchant came home with the victory, with Scott Simley and Aaron Bennett finishing second and third with a fantastic finish. And we're going to go to Victory Lane, where we're going to talk to Seth the Merchant. Seth, Victory Lane, and I'll tell you what, one of the best finishes I've seen at Phoenix in general and in this truck series in quite some time. And you did a fabulous job of getting to the front. Some things happened and you were able to get there, but once you got there, you never let it go. And talk to us about that last battle. That was really fun to watch for us.
Yeah, that was a real tough one, because I was lacking about probably 2 or 3 miles an hour down the straightaway, and I had to make up all my time in the corners. And we had about 20 laps on those tires, and my right front was just hurting really bad there at the end. But it's so hard to pass here that I knew that if I could just have the optimal line, it would probably take him around 3 laps to get by me, even if he was able to get beside me, just because of the top just gets so much more momentum off the corner. You can be running like way worse and still get the run off and be able to hold him off. So as long as he didn't use me up, I think I had it there. But another 2-3 laps, I probably would have finished like third.
So what about this Phoenix Raceway? And you may disagree, but it looks like you guys had quite a bit of fun. I know there's some big wrecks that happened that you looked like you were definitely a part of at least one, with the way your front end looks. I know you can only see a little bit from the cockpit view, but once you got out, you probably looked at the truck and thought to yourself how the truck was even that fast. But did you have fun out there? Was the change different and good for the race today?
Oh yeah, it was very multi-grooved. In 3 and 4, you could get all the way up against the wall, or you could run right against the yellow line like I did on the white flag. Just very fun track. I think it's a lot better than the new one. Usually repaved tracks aren't nearly as fun, especially with the way that backstretch is. It's just wild going into 3, and just I can't believe I won this thing, man. I had 2 minutes of damage. I got in 3 wrecks, and just it all played out perfectly for me to get back up to the front and just be able to hold those guys off.
Yeah, in hindsight 2020, knowing that the caution that had taken Jamie Walker out just happened to be when you passed 4-second position. Going through your mind, at any of those last cautions, was there any chance of you coming down pit road, or was it sounded like track position was really important, but were tires a factor in it at all?
Yeah, I think we were probably all on the edge on that last caution of pitting. If we had gone green for probably another 2 laps, we probably, I think, all would have. But there was only about 0.3 of fall off, and just with how dominant the top is, like even if you had those better tires, the bottom, especially through 1 and 2, there's no way you could get a run off and pass, especially with the way my truck was on the straightaway. I wouldn't have been able to get back up there if there was like 4 guys that stayed out because I just had no power. But I feel really bad for Jamie because he had us all covered even before I had damage. He just had this place figured out. I don't know what happened to him. I saw it was something with lap cars, but I feel really bad for him because he definitely should have won this race.
Well, in the end, it all kind of played out for you, and you come home with the victory. As always, I think you know how the role goes when you're the leader and you have an interview with us. So tell us who made it happen for you for this truck, and any shout-outs you have today.
Just got to thank P-Money Designs for painting the trucks and Taylor Hurst for being the spotter today.
All right, there you have it. Seth the Merchant finishes in the first position, and we'll let him celebrate it here with his team. And we'll go to second place, Scott Simley, who is going to be with our Gabe Wood.
Down here on pit road with the number 2 finisher, Scott Simley. I think we can officially call him Mr. Where Did He Come From? From out of nowhere to being on the top side, coming oh so close to getting the win. Congratulations, Scott. You come home in runner-up.
Whew, thank you. Yeah, I needed a little more time, but I just, kind of gave it all I had there at the end, but it was a little too much and drove it in too deep there, that last corner. But even if I didn't, it would have been a side-by-side finish probably, but a lot of fun, a lot of crazy action out there. Didn't get a lot of practice in this week as much as I wanted, but, I jumped in with like 15 to go here before practice, or for qualifying started, and probably had a top 10 truck, and, we'll take that finish, but yeah, it would have been nice to get that win.
Now, we saw a lot of guys, Justin, Michael, Ricky Howell, getting loose off of turn number 2, especially, early in the run. Earlier run when the tires were new and everybody was getting aggressive. Did you kind of have that problem, or was it just a driving style that those guys had?
You could, if you pushed it hard, you could. I kind of took it easy. Without the practice, I didn't want to push it that hard. I just wanted to get a good finish again, and I knew it might get a little crazy once with the cautions. People getting a little more, confident, and I didn't have that issue there. I'd have it off of 4. Sometimes it would want to come around, but it was pretty neutral for me.
That's good to hear on that number 68 machine. We saw you get to the back bumper. You kind of got hung up with Aaron Bennett there as he started racing on the inside. More power to him, trying to get back to Seth the Merchant. He had the opportunity to restart before. But you were just shot out of a cannon, and as soon as you got by, you ran down Seth the Merchant, and you kind of had to make a bonsai move to at least try and get the win. You ended up getting hung on the outside. You barely hung on to second. Do you think if you had 2 or 3 more laps to kind of set up a pass, you could have gotten past the Merchant?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I was catching him in the straightaway there in the dog leg. I think he might have been down with a little bit of damage he had. I think if I would have had 1 more lap, I really think I would have had him. I just, like I said, if I wouldn't have drove it in deep that last corner, we would have been side by side for sure. So I'm thinking I would have had him, but who knows?
All right, Scott. Well, you got it done there in that number 68 machine. Anybody want to thank before we let you go?
Thank you guys putting on the broadcast. That's awesome. Hippie's Paint Shop out there. Friends and family again if they're watching. Pretty intense. My hands are sweating and my heart's a thumping, so it was a good time.
Congratulations, Scott. And I believe Austin is caught up with the driver number 3 machine, brought it home in third. It's the number 3 machine of Aaron Bennett.
Yeah, I've caught up with Aaron Bennett, and Aaron, I think your number was kind of where you were going to finish all night. You were in third place all night. Good thing about tonight is that you do get the points lead, undoubtedly. Bad thing is that you were in a position multiple times, and it just seemed like the cards didn't roll in your favor for the win. However, you still got a good finish. Tell us about your race and how everything happened for you.
All in all, it was a decent night. I mean, I can't complain. I got some damage in the first caution there. I got rear-ended. I was checking up for a car sliding back in front of me, and I got rear-ended from behind. So I had 30 seconds of damage on it. I never got it fixed. And I just kind of meandered there. Jamie and Cody, they were the class of the field. And then Seth, I just, I don't know, track changing whenever there at the end. I couldn't get to his outside quarter panel to pass it. If I could have got to his outside, he'd been a sitting duck because I'd been running the outside all night, and I'd just been comfortable out there. But I'm not that guy to move somebody out of the way to win a race either, because the sim is not 100% accurate, and I'm not trying to wreck somebody in the last lap. It's not how I do it.
Well, overall today, you were kind of one of the most safest drivers, I'd say, out there. It was really clean up until about lap 70-ish, where a lot of the chaos started happening, and you were sort of in the middle of the first incident that happened. But tell us about the conditions on the track. We heard a little bit from the merchant, but I kind of want to hear what you have to say about how track condition was, and whether at least me and Gabe feel that this was a really good change. How do you guys feel about it in particular as driver and league owner?
I like the fact that we ran this track. I think it's a good change of pace to run to run this Phoenix instead of the same Phoenix everybody runs all the time. I mean, all in all, the race was clean for the most part. There wasn't any of that dog leg bull crap, cutting the course halfway, making it, a short track. But I don't know, it was fun. I mean, I like the way the track changed there. You could run the high side at 1 and 2. I don't think you can do that in the new Phoenix, so it's always positive.
Well, Aaron, as we set to go to next week, looks like we'll be going to Auto Club. How is your program there, and what do we expect to see from the 3 machine?
Favorite track? Hands down. That's one of my favorites. I always run good there. I've won there in the past in USR. The first year we did the 30 race season, I won. So that's always a good confidence boost going in there. And no, it's about, I don't know, I expect to run good there. I just want to qualify up front and run the tire wear game just right there. So interested to see how that track builds rubber and see if 2 grooves come in there like they have in the past 2 weeks. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, points later, before we let you go, any thanks, shout-outs that you have to give for us?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, George, Jamie, Greg, and new addition, Justin Michael. He wanted people to race with, and I've never turned down Justin. He's been a good friend of mine. He's been part of the league for a while. He earned my respect from day one, so we had no problem with him. He's just like us for the most part. So, and just thank my teammates and thank the admins for helping us out. We got some issues to review at the end of the race, but it's just typical short track 1 mile racing. So that's all there is to it. People don't like bumpers being put to them.
Well, we will we'll be able to enjoy all of the fun festivities for next week while it's your favorite track. So we'll talk to you soon. I'm hopefully for your sake, and we'll talk with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
All right, there you have it. Aaron Bennett in the number 3 machine coming home in third. It felt like he was there all night, Gabe being in third. But I'll tell you what I was noticing during these interviews is that we've had 2 winners, 4 races. I'm kind of wondering who is going to be that first driver to kind of break this mold that has started to form. And Aaron Bennett seemed like a good candidate for it, especially if it's his favorite track, as Michael and the Merchant have been so strong so far this season.
You're going to have to remind me, who have been the 2 drivers who have won this year?
Justin Michael and Seth the Merchant.
Okay. I think Cody Gibson. more than likely he showed consistent speed. I mean, he drove up through the field. I think Cody Gibson, he's going to be the next person to break through into victory lane.
All right, and I'll tell you what, when we go back and look at this race, I think this will be one of the best changes that I've at least seen, that I was not expecting to be such good racing here at this track with the difference of banking and the tire wear that went down in it. We heard the drivers say that in the corners, you know, it felt a lot different, and you could run way different in 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 was kind of predictable. But definitely that dogleg caught a couple of drivers today, and especially a few drivers got caught up in multiple accidents, and Merchant even got caught up in a few and was able to make it towards the front. So it was, I think, pleasant to see certain drivers really be able to, despite the conditions that they were in, to make good finishes of what they had.
Yeah, tough conditions here. You know, I'm a fan of the new Phoenix, like I said in the pre-race show, but old Phoenix with the new cars, I mean, it put on one heck of a show, and I was happy to be here.
All right, and as we start to wrap things up, Gabe, gonna give a good shout out to friends at BNC Lawn and Landscaping and Joel Rill Timing, the support for the league and the series and everything that LSRTV does. So as we start to give a wrap, we do want to give a congratulations to Seth the Merchant once again for his win and the good battle that he had with Scott Simley and Aaron Bennett. For everything else, LSRTV, you can go to livesimracing.com and see all the other special events and races that we've got going. The next race we'll have is on Monday for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. They'll be at Martinsville, which will be a bunch of fun, Gabe. And then we've got a lot more on the course, but if you want to see our full schedule, you can go there. And from everybody on the team, Evan, DJ, Laura, and the team tonight, myself, Austin Coote, Gabe Wood, Cisco Scaramuza, we want to thank you for stopping by and enjoying tonight's race, and we'll see you all at the next track, and that'll be at Auto Club.